everyone. Welcome to the Sonya Magazine Talk Show. This is the first episode, and I am so honored and delighted to have as my first guest, Erin Cruz, the beautiful Erin Cruz.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you for coming. Definitely.
Oh, no, it's an honor. I was so excited to hear that you were starting a magazine and a talk show to reach Californians.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, I know that we had a little bit of a conversation before we actually are here now, and we were talking about California and how it used to be the Golden State. I believe you're a native Californian.
Yes, I am.
Let's talk about
and raised. Well, I was born and raised here in Southern California. I was born in Orange County.
Orange County.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
In the good old days when kids could play outdoors till dark, and we want to get it back to that space. We really do. We need to fight for that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you know, I too, born in Orange County. Yes. I was born in Newport. You?
I was born in Mission Viejo.
We're sisters. This is what it is. We're sisters. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So you definitely know, you know, how it's changed.
Oh, it's changed a great deal here. Yeah. And then when I was a teenager, we moved down to San Diego, and then now I'm in Palm Springs. I've traveled throughout the entire state, but I think the message is clear from everybody I speak to. Yeah. My experience is I'm not alone. It has changed, and we need to get our state back and save California.
Well, I can tell you, definitely, you're not alone. I was, you know, when even before a lot of the demise, unfortunately, of the state, I tell you, I just was hoping that we could get the word out. I was hoping that, you know, we could come together and really, you know, fight for our state and return it back to, you know, that golden state that we once had, and as kids and teenagers that we really enjoyed. And I was so delighted one day. I looked up and I saw someone mention, you know, what we're going to be talking about today, and it was by Erin Cruz, and then I saw it on OWN, and I saw it here. I was like, oh my goodness, this is it. We're back, you know, so I was so excited.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about the recall of Gavin Newsom?
Well, let me tell you exactly.
Newsom.
We are definitely talking about the recall of Gavin Gruesome Newsom. Yes, absolutely. I have to, definitely, that is exactly what we're talking about. So when I saw that, I thought, wow. You know, I've always fought for the fact, and I still do, and I'll just say it, you know, we're a red state. I believe that we're a red state, and, you know, and I think that through education and the demise of it, in the way, you know, media portrays a lot of things, they have a lot of hype that it's other than the truth, which they're kind of conditioned to do, and they're also, that's just kind of their strategy. So go ahead and elaborate on that.
Well, I think you bring up a very strong point where we know what the voter rolls are. We know that we have over 7 million Democrats registered voters. We have, you know, 4.5 or so million Republicans, and over that 4 and some odd million no party preference voters. But we have 39 million people here in California, and a lot of those people are, and I don't want to say conservative or liberal, they're just folks, regular everyday people working hard who want good things, and most of them probably live on a budget and have to watch their money and probably have conservative fiscal responsibility, you know, points that they want to see lived out in Sacramento. And as we've seen in a new poll that came out, what is it, over 90% of Americans believe that the country is on the wrong track, so to speak, in Congress and other things. So I think that the consensus is, from everything that we see going around, we might have a lot of loud Democrats here in California. We have Hollywood, we have all these different things. But the people of California, they don't want all this government overreach. They don't want high gas taxes. They don't want government infiltration into every area of their lives.
Absolutely. Now, how is it that you feel that the people of California, how is it that these elitists are not hearing our voices? Do you think it's that they're not hearing it? Do they hear it and they don't care? What is your thoughts about that?
They don't care. I believe that it's agenda driven. They have an objective, and one of those objectives in the state of California is the move towards socialism or communism, if you want to be blatant about it. And they don't care about the everyday Californian. In fact, Javier Becerra, Gavin Newsom's right-hand guy, the AG, he's moving forward on Prop 13 adjustments, which are going to make California absolutely unlivable for retirees, for veterans who are living on fixed incomes, for those working class families who just bought their new home and barely can afford to live here as it is, and pushing them basically out of our state. They're out of touch, but really they don't care. That's the biggest issue.
Absolutely. You know, I find that interesting, you know, people like Gavin Newsom as well as Javier Becerra. I can't help but to think how they grew up was far different. And I kind of think and believe that they too were fighting for, you know, the American people, at least their family in some sort of way, growing up if they had to work and things like that, and how they ended up turning out to this type of ideology where there's a lack of concern for others. And I wonder too, you know, where we have people in government, we have the elitists in the entertainment world, and they seem to really lack that concept of what's right and what's wrong. And a lot of times that I, you know, blatantly see it is they've removed a foundation of God. And I've always believed that we're God and country and faith, absolutely.
Faith and family values. I mean, and I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. Half of my family, they were Jews and they escaped the Holocaust. There are many different religions that are practiced here throughout the state, and most of them foster strong family values. Absolutely. And so how is it that these individuals, these elitists, got so out of touch with the fact that the people, they want good things? Why don't these elitists want those same good things for the people?
Absolutely. You know, I hear people, you know, some people will come up and say, oh, you know, money is the root to all evil. But I really think that it's the individual that uses what they've obtained material-wise for evil. You know, it's very clear that the individual's intentions is what drives anything. So if you're driving a car and you want to be reckless about it, and you're obviously going to use it for something that's not so good. So I just kind of wanted to bring that out, that I know a lot of people that are affluent and have strong Christian values. You don't see them, you don't hear about them, and they've done a lot of good for a lot of people. They've, you know, helped the people that are down and out, the homeless and things like that. So I think that thought process that we do hear from people and try to discount, oh, well, you know, it's just no, we have a bigger issue, and going back to these people that don't care about, absolutely.
Well, part of it, I think, there are three things that I've seen are universal. It's money, power, and control. With the elitists, that tends to be the three things, the three operating factors. And in the case of Gavin Newsom, he's the nephew of Nancy Pelosi.
Correct.
And we look at kind of those aspects of it and the out-of-touch nature by which they're doing things. I do believe it is agenda-driven. It's not about the everyday Californian or everyday American and their values or what they want. It's an agenda-driven tactic. It's a move towards socialism, communism, and a full takeover in terms of how they operate things. They want to help the homeless, but they want to do it all through government. And there are great ways through nonprofits and community outreach programs that we can partnership with NGOs, non-government organizations. There are so many ways to find solutions, but you know, they constantly are legislating against that with either more government or undermining the populace. I mean, look at the prison issue and wanting to release prisoners out, wanting to make felonies misdemeanors, wanting to allow, you know, whatever it might be. It's almost to make things unsettled, to bring it to a point where the government can come in and rescue. And that's not okay. And Californians need to take control, take back their state, and take that action. Otherwise, California goes, so goes the nation. Absolutely.
Now, I have a question for you. Now, how is it that we have some of the younger generations, maybe they haven't obviously been blessed to see what California was actually like, how are they able to fall into this line of thinking? And I've also seen adults also fall into that line of thinking. What drives them to that?
Well, part of it is what you mentioned earlier, a lack of really affirming our religious beliefs and making sure that our rights are protected, and the whittling down in our schools, taking God out of schools, taking faith, taking true teaching of the different faiths out of schools, and teaching revisionism, full-on indoctrination in the schools. It used to be just the universities seemed to be indoctrinating, and then we've seen a downtrend in terms of high schools, then junior highs, and now we're seeing an onslaught in the primary education and even down into preschools and kindergartens. So I think it's a full-on onslaught. I mean, all the way around to try to build a generation of people who are okay with socialism.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, when we talk about these kids that are unfortunately succumbing to a lot of this education indoctrination, is really what it is versus education. We have parents that seem to also be okay with that. And
they're
how
busy.
do we? Okay.
I think part of it, and I didn't mean to interrupt you there,
please,
but I think they're busy, and they're busy just trying to keep that roof over their heads, keep food on their tables, make sure they pay their taxes, get that gas money to be able to get to work and do that commute, and to be able to provide for their children, and they're busy. And so the schools are, by large, raising their children. And I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of really great teachers out there, dynamic teachers. There are people who participate in the unions who are fighting for more conservative lunchbox issues in the unions rather than agendas, and really getting to work for the kids. There are a lot of really good people who work in our schools, but there are also those who are okay with continuing on in the indoctrination and undermining of our children instead of teaching them what they need to be able to do to survive when they get out into the real world.
Absolutely. I think it's really harmful, just to put it out there, this socialism, communism type of thought process and wanting to move towards that. It's dangerous. It's so dangerous because it removes the ability of free thinking. They'll do the thinking for you. It removes just the kind of scope of opportunities that one would hope to become or aspire to be or go after, and that too will be removed. You can't do it, you don't need it, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's why so many people have, including my own family who escaped the Holocaust, but many people still come here from nations who are under the strong arm of either communist or socialist rule. They come here for opportunity. They come here for that American dream. They come here for that space where they can seek happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They can pursue happiness. And in California right now, we have Gavin Newsom who's trying to undermine just that.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can get California back on track and see restoration.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about that. How did you get involved? How did you, because I've always heard about, I always saw it, here on social media, we've got to, recall this governor, Gavin Newsom, and blah, blah, blah. They would have all these different things. How were you able to get in there, really make this happen? I mean, you truly have. Let's just be honest here. The beautiful Erin Cruz has just made this happen.
Well, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I do want to say that this is not my recall. This is the people's recall. Back in 2018, I ran for United States Senate here in the state of California against Dianne Feinstein. And I met a lot of folks. And when we saw, I only made it to the primary. I didn't make it to the top two. But watching the people through to the general election and their concern with Gavin Newsom possibly taking that election, they were worried. And many of them came to me. And I thought, I don't know how I can help. Now, I had envisioned a nonprofit organization, a humanitarian organization, Restoring America Now, which would help homeless, which would help veterans, which would help alleviate human trafficking, which would help across America, uniting people for that cause. That would fix only the topical issues. We found out that we couldn't do what we really wanted to do, which was impact government and help the people there. So when the folks came to me and they said, he's going to get it, he's going to take it, Gavin Newsom's going to win, what are we going to do? We're going to have to leave. I said, we're going to have to take that next step. So we started RAN Action Fund.
Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful,
So,
beautiful.
yes.
So where are we at right now? Where do you see this being at this time?
Well, we're at a turning point where the people need to realize this is their chance. This is their opportunity and their time, and they need to fight.
Right.
And I think that as soon as they can embrace that, we'll be able to move very quickly towards that 1.5 million number, and we'll be a success.
Absolutely. That is amazing. Well, I tell you, Miss Erin Cruz, I believe we have to go to a break right now, but I just want to thank you again for being here. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Took my love and I took it down. I climbed the mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills, till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older. I'm getting older too. So da 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 da. Ba da ba da 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 da. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older. I'm getting older too. I'm getting older too. So take this love, take it down. Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, and if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down, down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down, down. The landslide will bring it down.
Welcome back to Sonya Magazine. I am here with the beautiful Erin Cruz. I'm so happy again to be here with you.
Oh my goodness, it's such a blessing to be here. And again, I'm so glad that you've started this endeavor and you're leading and making impact.
Oh, thank you so
wonderful.
much. I wanted to kind of circle back to something. We were talking about the RAN Action Fund.
Right.
Can you please elaborate on that? So we're all in the know.
Right. So what happened was, I told you about the other outreach program, not being able to do really anything political. So when people had asked me, what are we going to do to recall, can we recall him? Can we recall Gavin Newsom? Can we get rid of him? We're so scared. We're going to have to move. I'm not going to be able to afford what his agenda is saying that he's going to be doing. And so we looked at what our opportunities were. And again, we started RAN Action Fund. We founded RAN Action Fund at the beginning of the year. It's a political nonprofit. And we moved forward in looking at what we could do to recall Gavin Newsom. It was a huge endeavor. And people say, Erin, volunteers say, Erin single-handedly did this. Yes, in many ways I did. But we have literally hundreds of volunteers who've been helping throughout the state since January get this going and get this recall pushed through. As a matter of fact, we submitted our first petition to the Secretary of State and it was rejected. And then from there, we knew exactly what we needed to do to get this next one through, and that's exactly what we did. And so at first, people, once we got the petition approved, they were shocked. They almost couldn't believe that I, little old me, a nobody, or maybe somebody to some people, of course my children and my family, but just a regular person could do this, that this was real, that this could happen. Took a little bit for people to adjust the idea they could take back their state, and we've seen it grow.
Right.
We have every county working to recall Gavin Newsom. We're not going to stop.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So RAN Action Fund, we will be able to do many other things with it because it is a political nonprofit, but this particular outreach for the recall is nonpartisan, but we do have a partisan organization we can operate with, which is important, especially for conservatives, for people with strong family values and fiscal issues they want to see addressed.
Oh,
so.
that's amazing. That is
Yes.
amazing. This is an incredible venture that you've started, and I'm so
Yes.
glad that you did. I know, as you said, many people volunteer, I know that, but really it takes a lot of care, and someone like you that knows, what the potential.
Right. The people have a great deal of potential. We've seen people like in Hong Kong, once Californians really realize what they can do collectively together to get this state back on track across party lines and fundamental values, all the things that matter to them to be able to keep them here, there will be no stopping the people. And Gavin Newsom and the people like him won't be able to continue on doing what they're doing. So what I would like to do is I would like to ask your viewers, if they haven't gotten involved in RAN Action Fund, in the recall of Gavin Newsom, to go to our website, to go to ranaf.org. There are petition links, Gavin Newsom links, other links to different things projects we want to move forward on. But to find out more, they can also go to recallgavinnow.com to our map and find signing locations and get involved. You don't have to have a special background or have a special training to be able to do this. It's a piece of paper. You just have to print it right, fill it out properly, have your family fill it out properly, and send it back to us in San Diego. The deadline is February 13th, and we're hoping to send a love letter to Gavin Newsom on Valentine's Day. So we really want people to get involved.
Absolutely. That is excellent. Okay, so let's say the website again.
So our actual website for RAN Action Fund is ranaf.org. So that's RAN Action Fund.
Awesome.
It's an acronym. And then recallgavinnow.com is our map. There's also a place where you can print the petition and do donations and what have you. But I do encourage people to go to the RAN Action Fund website because there's a lot of information on there. And part of this is people educating themselves. Californians are smart. They're fighters. And I believe that once they empower themselves, they will be able to make that change.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is awesome. I wanted to talk to you about, we had a glitch in our DMV there. And I know that recently it's been really talked about within the last 3 weeks. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, people call it an error.
Okay.
An error, glitches. The biggest concern is that we've seen many of these on large scale, and I'm hearing that it's not only California that's experiencing this, but primarily we have Gavin Newsom in charge. We have Javier Becerra, who is our AG. Why aren't the officials really taking a look at what the problem is? If the problem is with the DMV, fix it. We pay a lot of money as taxpayers. Our fees have gone up in California for our car registrations and other things. We should have the smartest systems. We're the 5th largest economy in the world. There's no reason why we should have Venezuelan-type glitches happening in our DMV system, which affect our voter rolls. And what this was, for those viewers who aren't aware, the DMV, that glitch triggered for voter registrations to change. If you're a Republican, it went to no party preference. Perhaps you're independent, it went to no party preference. There are all different things that happen. So I would like to encourage people to change their thinking about it. Instead of being alarmist and complaining, just go to the website on the Secretary of State, check your voter registration, make that action, then share it with your friends. Be forward momentum, game-changing people,
Absolutely.
not reactive.
Absolutely,
So,
100%.
yes.
That's really good information.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you and elaborate a little bit too. If when they go there and their parties have even been switched, or they're now registered as independent or Democrat, what does that happen? How is that going to affect voting next year?
Well, what will happen is our primary here in California has moved up to March 3rd, and for those people who want to vote for President Trump in the primary election, if they are not a registered Republican, they cannot cast their vote for President Trump.
Wow. Wow.
And this is the kind of fundamental concern that I have, is this a mass manipulation? We don't know. Until we actually look at the data and somebody does an actual investigation. But I think that the important thing is that the folks out there, that they check, and they check maybe over the next couple of months here, and just make sure that if they want to be a registered Republican and they want to vote for President Trump, that their registration is correct.
Absolutely. Let's talk about a couple of things. I know there's a list of things that alarm us about Gavin Newsom. Can you share a few things that concerned you?
Well, on our list for the recall, we didn't give an actual list, but we gave an open-ended description of our concern. Crumbling infrastructure, higher taxes, crime, concern for public safety, erosion of our schools, and also putting others first before our own veterans and before American citizens. And that's a concern as well. I think that if we look at the more recent days, people could look at our description and you might cite PG&E, the blackouts, the brownouts, no real fire preparation. He's thrown a lot of money at the fire preparation, what's being done, deforestation, the environmental, strong arm that the liberal progressives have, are blocking us from being safe. And Gavin Newsom is okay with these things. Wow. And so we look at also Gavin Newsom signing legislation undermining the will of the people for the death penalty. We've voted as a people several times on this issue, and Gavin Newsom still went around and he undermined the will of the people in that area. And these are the kinds of things that should be a concern for the people when you have a government leader, an elected, who doesn't listen to the will of the people.
Let's say that again, one more time.
People need to be concerned when they have a government
Absolutely.
official or leader who isn't listening to what they want to see done in government.
Absolutely, absolutely. Government is supposed to be working for
the people.
The people. Do we
Yes.
hear that, people?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one thing we really got to focus on, and I really want to. I'm anxious and excited to see more and more people come out and be supportive of what this whole thing is supposed to be, our state, and getting that back.
Yes.
So, Erin, Cruz.
Yes.
You are absolutely a dynamo.
Oh, thank you.
I tell you, a trendsetter, trailblazer, all of those wonderful things.
Thank you.
You're currently running.
Yes, I'm currently running for office for Congress in the 36th Congressional District. That's in Riverside County. So I look forward to working for the people, serving the people, and listening to the people.
Amen.
And getting this country back on track.
Oh my goodness, that is This is wonderful. I tell you, if I lived in Riverside County, I'm voting for you. I'm gonna go get a residence out there. I got to vote for you. So, Erin Cruz, I just want to thank you so much for being on Sonya Magazine Talk Show. It was an honor to have you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. I've learned so much from you. And I suspect that many others will be learning a lot as well. And, you know, I just wanted to also come out and have a voice and encourage other people to use their voice and understand what our rights are and really who is supposed to be leading who. So again, the government works for us. They should not be taking so much of our liberties and doing what they wish to do or as they want to. And while they get to have their own private rules in their own private sector, where they live and how they protect themselves and so on and so on. And what's good for the goose has got to be good for the gander. So if they want us to be locked down a certain way, by goodness, they better be locked down as well. Do you agree?
Liberty before legislation, people before politics. I agree that the government needs to have its place.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Yes.
100%. Once again, I thank you so much for coming down. I do plan on having you back again. I hope you accept.
Absolutely.
And I just can't thank you enough. You are brilliant, beautiful, and I tell you, what an American. I love you.
Oh, love you too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.